Hi, everyone. My name is Robin West. I work for Seabourn as their Vice President, General Manager of Expeditions and Operations. Today, with our travel partner, Panache Cruises, I would like to introduce you to an area that is known as the Kimberley. The Kimberley is a region in northwest Australia that is situated between Broome and Darwin, and it's an area that we explore during the dry season. The dry season being somewhere around about April to about September. That is when the dry season occurs in the Kimberley. And that's really when you want to get on an expedition ship and explore this incredible destination that lies between Broome and Darwin in the northwestern part of Australia. What makes the Kimberley so special is the diversity of the experience. So one of the things that is really incredible as you move through this Aboriginal land is the diversity in the art, the history, and the actual culture that this area was home to and still is home to. So what I'd like to talk now is just about some of the artwork that we find in the Kimberley. The Kimberley is home to three distinct different types of artwork. One of those is the Wodgina art. And so this is an area known as Raft Point, where our guests hike up this fantastic ridgeline. There's beautiful baobab trees as you make your way up. And then you come into this overhang that overlooks this beautiful bay. It's very cool. And you can actually see why this would have been used as a rest area. It's got magnificent views. It's cool. There's a beautiful breeze that blows through there. But in this cave or in this overhang, you have the significant Aboriginal Wodgina art. A lot of the art depicting daily life, hunting, fishing, collecting. And so we have expedition staff who will take these sites and interpret them for you and give meaning to these incredible artwork and actual destinations. In addition, we have a different style of art that takes place in the Kimberley, known as it's got two names. It can be either known as the Bradshaw art or the Guion art. And it's a very different style of art. It's a very fine and delicate, distinctive style of art. There is multiple theories as to how this artwork came about. There's multiple theories that believe this is not done by Aboriginals. There's theories that this was done by people who came down from the north in the land bridge that was still there before the oceans rose. And so there's some fantastic interpretations and some theories as to how the Bradshaw, how this Guion art came. It is scattered all across the northern part of Australia. And so it's fantastic to listen and explore these destinations. And beyond that, we head out to places like Biggie Island, where again, we have this fantastic Aboriginal art, but a different form of art. This is what is referred to as contact art. So this is a picture potentially, and there's theories again behind this. This is maybe early explorers, the Dutch with the high hats, the pipes, coming in to explore. And this may have been the first contact that the Aboriginals would have had with European or Western society. And in Biggie Island, there's a fantastic series of caves that you can move into and see all this contact art that depicts really history, dating back to the 1700s as Australia was being explored by the British, by the Dutch, and the influence that had. Another fascinating thing about the Kimberley really is the large tidal changes. In the Kimberley, you have the second largest tidal changes in the world, up to about 11, 12 meters in tidal change. And as a result of that, you have incredible phenomena that are nowhere else on the planet. This is an area in a place called Talbot Bay. You have what's called the horizontal waterfalls. And how this is created is you have these parallel mountain ranges, and there are two small gaps between these mountain ranges. And because of this huge tidal change, the water cannot pass through these gaps fast enough. And you have this bulge or buildup of water either on the front or the back end, depending whether the tide's going in or out. And what it does is it creates horizontal waterfalls. Whenever you tell people about horizontal, they're like, sorry, well, how do you mean horizontal? But you literally have whitewater rafting where you're driving up 3 or 4 feet or a meter through these horizontal waterfalls. This incredible phenomena created by this ebbing and flowing of the tides through these beautiful sandstone gorges. Beyond that, you head up into these very intricate sandstone gorges. You've seen all this different forms of erosion in the sandstone, honeycomb erosion, horizontal erosion, and it's really magnificent. You've got this rich iron ore in the sandstone, and that's what gives it that magnificent kind of orangey color. In fact, something quite special to see in the Kimberley is a sunset. In the evening, as the sun's about to set on these red sandstone cliffs, it lights it up, and it really is quite a magnificent sight. Beyond places like Talbot Bay, horizontal waterfalls, is an area known as Montgomery Reef. Montgomery Reef is a 400 square mile reef, 20 miles by 20 miles. At high tide, you can sail right over it. You don't even know it's there. We put the guests in the Zodiac. We ride out what appears to be the middle of the ocean, and we time it just as the tide is dropping. And you sit there with the guests in the middle of the ocean. They're like, now what? And all of a sudden, for as far as the eye can see, you see this white ridge of water. And all of a sudden, you see this massive reef system come out the water. And in this reef system, you have an area known as the river. It's a narrow section that winds into Montgomery Reef. And within about an hour, hour and a half, the water level drops by about 1 meter to 2 to 3 meters and exposes this massive reef. And then you're in the Zodiac. You're on a Zodiac cruise for almost 90 minutes, and you have, as far as the eye can see, waterfalls cascading down the side of the reef. You've got dugongs, you've got manta rays, you've got sea turtles, you've got all the bird life coming in to feed. This really is, it's a wildlife extravaganza as you kind of move in and moving through this river section. Again, in all my years of being on expedition vessels, I've never seen a phenomenon like this, and it really is something quite special. Areas like Hunter River, we come into the Hunter River, we take the Zodiacs, we explore, we head into the, really, with a magnificent mangrove environment. We're in the mangroves, you're with the expedition staff telling you about the mangroves, how special they are for the ecosystem. They're basically the nursery for the ocean. There's fantastic wildlife, from ospreys to Brahminy kites to white-tailed sea eagles. And then, of course, you know, you also have the option to come ashore at Naturalist Island, get in a helicopter, get above the Kimberley, explore the Kimberley from above, land at what this photo depicts is the Mitchell Plateau and the Mitchell Falls, spend an hour or two up at the Mitchell Falls, back in the helicopter, and fly back to the ship. And it's a fantastic way to really get a bit of an aerial view of the Kimberley, the Hunter River, the mangrove environment, and of course, out of the Mitchell Plateau and the Mitchell Falls. Sailing into Kalama Bay, you're about 8-9 miles away from what's known as the King George Falls. So in the morning, we arrive in Kalama Bay, we anchor the ship, we get in the Zodiacs, we go through Kalama Bay, and then we get into the mouth of the river, and we run all the way up this beautiful sandstone gorge for about 7 miles, looking for crocodiles, looking for bird life, and then eventually arriving at the end at the twin falls of the King George Falls. These falls are about 90 meters in height. And obviously, if you arrive April, May, June, these waterfalls are thundering over the edge just after the wet season. Later in the season, as the season progresses, the waterfalls decline. But it's magnificent to sail in there. It's always warm. It's always sunny in the Kimberley. We tend to get quite close in, get the spray, get some water on the Zodiacs. It's a bit of fun. And then from there, there's actually the option to land with the Zodiacs. Again, the Zodiacs are incredible for giving you access to areas where there's nothing and no infrastructure. We disembark off the bow. You can then hike up to the top of King George Falls and view these falls from the top, looking down over the actual river and the area. Again, probably a highlight, because most itineraries tend to end at the King George Falls, and they end there for a very good reason, because it really tends to be an absolute highlight. Again, you know, using our travel partner Panache Cruises, I really encourage you to take a look at the Kimberley. These are itineraries that are going to be done in further out in probably, you know, the summer of 2023. But speak with Panache Cruises, a fantastic opportunity to explore an area that's very, very rarely visited and not really something you can do by land. It's an area, the Kimberley, that really needs to be explored by ocean.